Chatting with a dude last night. He's a white belt. He's training 4 to 5 times a week, quite a bit. Pretty consistent guy. Strong on the mats. Fit, strong dude, good shape. Was talking to me about some hip pain that he's been experiencing, and it was mostly through like his kind of inner thighs and also front of the hip. Really common for jiu-jitsu, right? I'm sure if you're watching this, you train jiu-jitsu, you can identify with having experienced pain through the inside of the hip, like the groin, and through the hip flexors before. So he was asking me what I think you should do, and I asked the guy what he does besides jiu-jitsu training, and he said, I do a shitload of yoga. So it's like I do a bunch of yoga, and I do kind of power style yoga, so it keeps me, you know, pretty strong, and there's a lot of squatting, single leg squatting, that kind of thing in there. And sort of dug a little bit deeper, and so I was quizzing him on if he does anything relevant to the inside of the thighs. So take like the Cossack squat. If you've done the Cossack squat, we're talking more about building this adductor or this inner thigh strength, right, and mobility at the same time. And he doesn't do a lot of that. So I was like, all right, well that's somewhere to start investigating. So let's start doing some of that. But then the other thing I asked was if he deadlifts at all. And this is really, if we think of this kind of more central to human movement, it's like, do you do any kind of loaded hinging? And he doesn't, right? Because he does yoga, so there's no real external weights involved. Now, I've experienced over all of my years of coaching people that when you avoid some kind of loaded hinging, like a deadlift or any variation of the deadlift, you miss out on a certain amount of glute and lower back development that really just helps to keep the spine and the hips in good shape. And in a sport like jiu-jitsu, where we're building huge amounts of strength through the inner thigh and through the groin, right? Because you think about the guard, particularly closed guard, which you're playing a lot when you're a white belt and when you're newer to the game. It's like death grip with the legs. You're squeezing your knees together. You're fucking holding someone in there for, you know, as long as you can, right? You're building huge amounts of strength on the inside of your thighs or the inside aspect of the hip. If you're not deadlifting or something similar to that, then you're not building strength on the outside of the hip, right? You're not building strength through the glutes, through the lower back as much. And what that means is you develop an imbalance. And imbalance usually leads to some kind of injury. So a lot of what we do in the Bulletproof program is about restoring balance to certain areas, right? So what I said to this guy was like, man, let's get some Cossack squats done. Let's make that a regular thing, even if it's just something you put into your warm-ups a few days a week. But let's start doing some deadlifting. And if that means that he has to go to the gym once a week and deadlift a barbell, you know, does like whatever, 5-6 sets and calls it a day, that done consistently over a long period of time is just going to help to balance out the strength that he's developing on the other side of the hips. And in the long term, it's going to give him a good hip balance, and it's going to reduce his chances of injury.